What's up, Exiles? It's a Gemini, and I got some more Act 4 hype news. We got Maraketh weapons. In Path of Exile, The Awakening, we're introducing 13 new weapon types, the Maraketh weapons. These exist in 3 different tiers at the end of Normal, Cruel, and Merciless. So there are a total of 39 different base types added. Today's news post includes the linked versions of the first tier of Maraketh weapons. Here are some facts about Maraketh weapons. Act 4 isn't set in Maraketh lands, but the Maraketh tribe are involved with the lore of this act. Maraketh weapons have different implicit mods than most of the items in Path of Exile. The implicit mod is the same for the first 2 tiers and slightly larger in the 3rd tier. While Maraketh weapons are some of the rarest and most desirable weapons in the game, they don't deal substantially more damage than the highest current base types. However, their new implicit mods make them more appropriate for certain builds. All the Maraketh weapons have their 3D art and look quite different than existing weapons in Path of Exile. At this stage, we do not plan to introduce unique versions of Maraketh weapons. Like the rest of the content revealed so far, the names and properties of these items may change before or during closed beta. So let's take a look at some of these items. We have a blade staff. Instead of block chance, there's global critical strike chance, and I imagine this goes up to 80 or 100 for the last tier. Keep in mind the first 2 tiers are the same on the implicit mod. 6% crit chance, 1.2. It's a really good attack speed. Physical damage is good on it, obviously, but we can see that the block chance was completely removed from this. I'm not so sure how I feel about it. You know, the global critical strike chance favors more of a caster type thing, but I don't know. It's a staff and it's attack based, and you're just stripping away, you know, some awesome block chance. The curved blade, which ends up being like the Tachi form crit sword, has a 6% local crit chance. This is quite significant. The attacks per second, 1.25, that is very, very good. I thought it was 1.2 at level 70, the level 70 base version of this. But we'll expect to see some like two-handed crit cyclone, crit cleave, things like that would be pretty nice. The implicit is 35% increased global critical strike multiplier, and you know, for a crit-based weapon, having that implicit, that's pretty insane. 35, and I think this goes up to 50. So we have the mace. It says 4% increased radius of area skills. Again, you can use maces with sweep, ground slam, glacial hammer, but I definitely think ground slam and sweep will benefit the most from this implicit. Oh yeah, and static strike. That's also a great one. The local crit chance is 5. It's a 1.25 base, pure strength weapon. And the sword is obviously your strength dex. Then we have the two-handed axe. Now we have a crit axe. And this thing is probably going to be amazing. Two-handed axes have the best weapon range out of all the two-handers. It's the same as a foil. But getting 7% crit chance or more, that could beat some staves. Actually, that's probably going to beat a lot of staves. So we don't have a lot of axe crit nodes, but you can get global crit and power charges and things like that to make it worthwhile. Alright, so now we have the Reflex bow, which is 4% movement speed. I can't think of many instances where you would want 4% movement speed over like a decimation crit bow. Usually PvP bows are movement speed related or attack speed, so it might be used in that sense. And if you notice that none of these item types are going to affect LLD because of the level 36 requirement. There's no future with Maraketh bows in LLD, so that's kind of good to know. Your weapons will stay the same. Small sword. So this looks like a foil, and it is 8% chance to cause bleed on hit. That is okay. And when you have nodes in the bottom right hand tree, it's called bloodletting. 24 increased physical damage over time, and then 20% increased attack damage against bleeding enemies. Attack damage is not prejudiced to both elemental and physical. So I was wondering how you were able to, get a decent percentage chance to bleed, but with 6% and then a possible, how much was this? 8%, and then probably the level 70 version of this will probably be much better, maybe 12, who knows, or 16. Then that bloodletting node might become pretty interesting. Here we have a horn scepter. Now this looks like it says damage penetration 1% for elemental resistances, and it has good crit chance, 6%. Definitely has potential to open up some interesting one-handed builds. Maybe, I don't know, Glacial Hammer, Molten Strike, crit. Even if you want to do LE Ground Slam or any decent mace, Heavy Strike. Not so much Heavy Strike, but I probably would use this with Glacial Hammer and maybe even one-handed Static Strike crit. Very, very cool. I would like to see the DPS range. It's 1.3 seconds, so it's not as slow as a lot of other maces that we have in the game. The Ancient Axe, 8% increased physical damage. This is probably the least interesting implicit, and axes already do good damage. I don't feel like it makes it very unique at all. Kind of underwhelming if you ask me. Now we have something that I've never seen before. It's a one-handed sword, so this would fall under the Elegant Blade, Corsair, things like that. But we have 3% increased global defenses, energy shield, evasion, and armor. Global defenses. That's pretty cool. I'm not sure if this is going to be desired that much. We have the one-handed snake mace, which is supposed to be the physical attack based, but there's no crit chance. So maybe your RT builds will want this. 4% increased attack speed. That is quite underwhelming too. I don't think this is going to be desired. It's probably the second. Well, I guess all three of these are pretty underwhelming. Now we have a dagger with 4% chance to block. That is a decent implicit change. Definitely is going to make you think with the 40% crit or 60%. I don't know what's the equivalent. I think pretty much all daggers at level 36-ish are all 40%. So, and I'm guessing the level 70 version might have 8. That'd be pretty sick. Maybe a hardcore dagger. Cast speed on a wand instead of spell damage. This is almost kind of a wash. Maybe flame blast. Anything that has really high charge up time would utilize this. If we look at the implicit, critical strike chance implicit is 8%. I believe that's pretty high. I think 8.36 might be the highest. And the attack speed is not that great, 1.35. It's between tornado and imbued. So will we see fizz wanding with this? I highly doubt that with that cast speed implicit. At least with the spell damage, you can convert that to attack damage with Crown of Eyes. Or if you use it in a COC application, it takes usage of that implicit spell damage, whereas cast speed isn't going to do anything for the COC or fizz wanding. And then we have the claw. +6 life and mana gain for each enemy hit on your attacks. That is very, very flavorful. Claws are notorious for being the leech, and this is the first time we've seen life and mana gain on hit per attack. I think this is going to be really sweet with things like Molten Strike or even Reeve. I mean, big packs, you're going to be getting both life and mana. could make for a very sweet build. But yeah, I mean, Chris just posted this. It's fresh off the news, and I hope you guys like the Act 4 content reviews. I'll continue to do more daily. The next thing I'll be doing is probably discussing the war cries and how each war cry may affect the game, and probably the best usages of the usage of them. And yeah, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button, and more videos to come. See you guys later.